With Irish Joe. With Irish Joe. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Ooh, that's right. Welcome in, welcome back. I got a feeling. I don't know where this is coming from, folks. I got a feeling some people are drinking tonight. I'm just throwing that out there. And if ever there was a night for a crew gathering to discuss Irish happenings of all sort, it may as well be this one. It's our night. It's Christmas Eve for leprechauns like me. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I gotta tell you though, some of you guys, I mean, I appreciate you and I love you, but a lot of you were like, oh, I left the bar to go home and watch this show, or, I ditched my family to go watch the show. Come on. I don't expect that kind of loyalty. If you're out doing something fun, go do it. Don't let me slow you down. You can watch it on repeat. Somebody asked, where's my green? If you notice, I have a green screen. Like the news has a green screen and they digitally impose things behind them, the weather, that kind of thing. If I wear green, I'm invisible and I look like a ghost. So that's why I don't wear green. If I have green on, I'll blend right in and all you'll see is my head. You think I'm scary like this? Imagine if it was just my head. All right. We got a few phone calls here, and these are some good regulars that I want to hear from. Again, it's a beautiful thing doing the night shows. You catch a whole different crew on a whole different vibe. Sometimes you catch the same crew, but in a different mood at night. Like, it's just a wild scenario. It's a very interesting social experiment. You're just never sure what you're going to get. All right. I got to get through the introductions. How do you call in? 312-988-15. That's how you call in. And then you'll be able to hear the show live while you're waiting, and then I bring you up. 312-988-15. Dialed up. Tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. All right. Let me get through the introductions. I got to go through the super chats to get caught up. And then I'll probably just give it to the phone lines for a while. We'll see who's calling about what, where from, who's at the bar, what's going on. We'll see what's going on. And by the way, the regulars here, man, I love you guys. Even the ones that give me a hard time. Like, you're the nuts and bolts, the foundation of this show. There are a lot of you that are here every time I do a show in the morning or the evening. I really appreciate it, man, especially in the off season. All the numbers go down. You don't get the normal traffic because you're not in games and all of that. But you guys still being there, wanting to keep the show going in the off season. And sometimes it's a heavy episode. Sometimes it's light. It means the world to me. It really does. So thank you very much. So let's get through these introductions. The phone lines are calling up. Again, I always say, mornings in the off season, the traffic on the call-ins aren't what they are in the season, so everybody could have some more run and talk about whatever they want to. If we're going to have a pretty full bank tonight, we'll see how it is when I get to the calls in a couple minutes. Try and keep it moving so we could get a bunch of people, set there, okay? So let's do the introductions. I'm going to do the super chats, and I really appreciate it, you guys. I really do. You keep it all going, the Ohio podcast. What is this sorcery? Kennedy on a Saturday night? Don't mind if I do. Man, I love doing the Saturday nights. When we get in the summer, me and Pat will whip those back up regularly. We all through the summer, we were pretty much Saturday night party central. Through the dog days of summer, we're gonna get back into that. I needed to do some family stuff and do normal things, you guys. When it's in the season, it's 7 days a week. There ain't no Friday, let's go out Saturday night. It's 7 days a week. There's something to do. So now I got to do what I got to do. So give me a little break. All right. Let's get into this here. Obviously, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on that way. You alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter. Search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishandy@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my face. I don't blame you if you don't want to see my face. Some of you put in the chat, oh, man, we got you up on the big screen in the living room. Whoa! Woo! That's a lot of John's face all up in your living room. Sorry about that. The Cowlin lines. You already know them. 312-988-15. You dialed up. Tell your boy all you heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Irish Wire. I tell people all the time, I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not. If you don't want to see me, you could hear me on the audio only. If you don't want to hear me or see me, then you go read about it. I got you surrounded with Notre Dame material you can't get away from, man. I got you hooked up every which way. Patreon.com/Always Irish. It's the former captain, Mike Goolsby, and myself. Here's the deal. Him and I we're gonna have a big debate. It's gonna be this week. I don't know what day we're gonna meet. He disagrees with me about a lot of stuff. I get the impression he believes I'm babying Marcus Freeman. He disagrees with me on a lot of these items and some of the things that I've been saying and writing, and he wants to debate it live. And when we do that, we have like a production meeting. What do you want to talk about? What's your bullet points? What do you want the segments to be? We're not going to go over this one because I want it to be raw, and I don't want to have time to think about it or to react or anything. I want him to call me out on what he needs to call me out on, and we have a live debate. I don't want to prep for it. I want it to be natural. I want it to be raw, both sides. So that should be good for the Patreon people. So stay tuned for that. And thank you to everybody that's joined there as well. Also, you see it on the screen. My friends over at ndsubwayalumni.com. Very important group in my heart. There's so many Subway alum. Notre Dame would not be what it is without those people. So support them. We got Lewskis, you got shirts, you got merch, you got a little bit of everything. Okay, so good guys over there. No, here's the promise I will tell you guys, and I mean this because it's just how I operate. There will be nobody that ever advertises or that I link myself with here that I don't trust personally. That's not how I operate. Anybody, if I promote anything you see, you could trust that I know these people. I vetted them and I trust them, and they're in our circle. Okay, so know that. That's how I prefer to do business, and it covers us all. Okay. So I see people here giving me a hard time over the Freeman stuff too. It's fine. I'm happy to defend my positions fully to Mike when we get into that debate. Happy to do it. Love doing it. And so that'll be healthy and good. People asked where Pat is. I'm going to be really disappointed if Pat calls. He took his wife away on a weekend getaway because it is her birthday. No kids, the 3 daughters are with the in-laws or whatever. So Pat took her away for the weekend. If he calls in tonight, I'm not answering the call. I'm doing him a favor. I'm not answering the call. Pat needs to be with his wife and do all that. So Pat is the opposite of whipped, Mark. Pat is the opposite of whipped. Pat gets to go golf whenever he wants. She's got the 3 kids. He golfs and drinks for 8 hours, plays 2 rounds of golf, drinks in between, comes home later. Pat's got it made. So he's doing the right thing and taking her out. So God bless him. He's doing the right thing there. Good job, Pat. I don't want him to call. I won't even take the call because I don't want to be responsible for him getting in trouble on this. Thoughts on the new CFP agreement? I also want to bring that up to you guys. I want to know if it's on the, obviously it's on the list. I want to know if you think Notre Dame got a good deal in all this or not. I want to know. I want you to evaluate Notre Dame's negotiating skills. Did they do a good job of threading the needle between keeping Notre Dame independent and making sure that there's enough money there that they could stay competitive while doing it? That's the big question I have for you. Looking at those numbers, whatever it was, 9 million less than the Big Ten and the SEC payouts and all that. It's a difficult task to thread this needle. I want to know how you think they negotiated it. I like that little flexibility piece added at the end for 28, where Notre Dame could reevaluate with no penalty. I like that safety net. You could run as an independent, see how the money goes, see how you perform, see what else happens in the landscape, see what else happens with the ACC. That's the other thing. This isn't all Notre Dame making autonomous decisions. Some of it's going to have to do with the ACC. If it totally crumbles and they lose their best teams, then that's going to change the calculus for Notre Dame. Having the flexibility piece in there means a lot to me. It gives me some comfort. Notre Dame's fairly protected now, and then they have flexibility in the future. And I very much like that. That gives me comfort that they could wiggle room if they need to down the road. Yeah, that's on my list too. Justin Fields to the Steelers for a 6th round pick. So this is going to be super, super interesting. It's on my list again because it's breaking news. The Fields thing. You all have to understand. I'm going to go super chats and then give it to the calls. I promise. I got to get out what I got to get out. Being where I'm at, this isn't a college football area. All the Chicago radio stations, it's a pro town. It ain't a college town. So all of the discussion about Fields and Caleb Williams coming to Chicago with that first pick, all of the framework of those discussions on 670 The Score and AM Chicago 1000, the two main stations, it's all from a pro angle. And it's so interesting to me because I know Caleb Williams on the college side, and they're talking about him as a pro prospect. And there's that big gap between the college game and the pro game. And it has been for months a heated debate on these radio stations every single day. The pro Fields crowd, the Bears don't know how to develop quarterbacks, but it's not Fields' fault, all of that. And then the other half going, he's not good enough. Go get Caleb Williams and roll the dice, whatever. That debate's been going on every day. The pro Fields camp and then the Caleb camp and all that. I guess you got your answer. Fields was ultimately worth what? A 6th round pick. So, I mean, you are what the market dictates you are. And he ended up, the Steelers got him for a 6th round pick. That's a good deal for them because that's very low risk, in my opinion. So it's just going to be really, really interesting. The last time Ohio podcast, no Northwestern talk on the airwaves. Again, Northwestern, I have a weird relationship with, lived for 7 or 8 years. Corner of Asbury and Central Street, right near Custard's Last Stand, right there by the stadium. I have a weird relationship with Northwestern. I did not get along with those people. I don't think I'm their type of people, man. I just don't. I'm not smart enough to. I could never get on the wavelength with the. I couldn't relate to the Northwestern people when I lived there 7 years. They looked at me like I was a fish out of water, and maybe I was, because I always had the Notre Dame thing I carried around with me, even in Northwestern circles. I had the Notre Dame smart school thing. Maybe that was it. I don't know, but I didn't fit in well over there. Yeah, I don't have the brains, man. I don't have the brains. Tomorrow's Selection Sunday, doesn't matter to me. I'm telling you, nobody believes it. March Madness is a fraud. It annoys me to see all these people that couldn't name 2 people on any of these teams screaming, taking a day off work and yelling about it at a bar and gambling over it. I just can't live that way. I can't get that excited about teams I have no investment in. It's got to be like me crying every week with Notre Dame. Like, I just can't get into these teams where I just haven't seen them play and you pick them and then you. Indy women, good job. That's fantastic. Am I questioning your basketball intelligence? I'm definitely not. If you enjoy it, go for it. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem. Whatever you like, you like. I'm just telling you, I can't get into it. All right, let's do a couple of these chats and then we'll get into the calls. And the bank's filling up. So it's easy for me to say for you to speed up when I talk here for 28 minutes. I'm sorry, man. It's just how it goes. Oh, man. Looks like Bettis Jr.'s committing tomorrow. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people that don't think he's that great. I'm just being honest. There's a name, but a lot of people have questions about that skill set and all that. And then Jay Carr says, if you're going to take a lower level recruit, you may as well take one who has NFL genes. I agree with that. Goolsby swears by this. He does all this training and all the weightlifting and the training of these high school kids in Nebraska. He swears by it. He goes, John, there's something to it. If you got those elite athlete genes, you pass those babies on, and those are guys that can develop into, it's in the gene pool. And now Notre Dame's got a lot of those guys. You got Urlacher. I mean, you got a lot of those guys. And I would rather have Brian Urlacher's kid and Bryant Young's kid than Bon Jovi's kid. I'm sorry. What are we? I mean, what are we singing rock and roll tunes? I would much rather have these celebrities' kids than that guy. I always thought Bon Jovi was overrated. I just did. I'm sorry. I just thought he was overrated. And when he was, I just do. If you're a big fan, I'm sorry. I just can't. Oh, boy. Top of the evening, Walter. John, I heard Purdue's putting their big drum in your front yard. I can't handle that stupid drum. All those engineering geniuses, and they come up with an inconvenient 80-foot drum you can't fit or move anywhere. So much for your engineering degree. Create that drum to where you can engineer it with your fancy Purdue degree that it folds in half or something. Sick of that stupid thing. And then you don't get to come in here with an 80-foot drum and then act offended that everybody doesn't accommodate your drum. It made me mad last time they came to Notre Dame, acted like we were bad hosts. You're the one who's trying to fit a 90-foot circle through a regular door. That's on you. That's on you. Do it at your own house. Oh, look at this. C. Jones. He's the man. Who's the man? He's the man. Leahy, Leahy, Leahy. He certainly is the Irishman indeed. Frankly, in the Fighting Irish Second Bible, as I like to reference it, God bless that man. And the spirit of that man and his winning ways still rest in that little bedroom above the old fire station on campus. His spirit's still there. Whenever I walk by, I look up and I can feel the spirit of Frank up there. He's still around. Him and his winning ways. Oh, yeah, Cotter's marriage will be on the line if he comes live. I'm not answering his call, man. He needs to be with his wife. She is a saint. Mikey Poles. John, I'm hammered. I'm not sure if I'll make the show. I'll do my best. Mikey, I love you, man. And I want an update on these wedding plans, Mike. I want to know what the deal is. What's the deal with this wedding planning? Is it stressful? Does she have it all figured out? You take a back seat? What are we working with? Oh, boy. Commander Luke. I've heard A&M has some DNs that are the real deal. Yes, for the local prison yard association team, because they got trouble. Ooh, buddy. Homer TD, God bless you, and I miss you, and I hope I see you in a few weeks. Thanks for the $43. Got to be a story with that. Is there 43 days left till blue and gold or something? That's like the time frame in my mind I'm trying to guess with the 43. And you'll be the first one up, by the way. I got you coming up. Here's something else I need to bring up too. Carberry, good to see you. Can't wait for the national championship party. I hope I'm alive to attend it. What Carberry is responding to is last week, I don't even remember what show it was. They all blend together. I said, if Notre Dame wins a championship while I'm doing this and alive and we're all functioning, I am renting somewhere out and we're having a huge party. Huge, huge party. We deserve it. After all the shared misery this show's group has been through together, if we get over the hump and we win something, I am renting a place and we are having a party. I don't know if it'll be in South Bend or the Chicago suburbs or somewhere in between. I don't know, but you could bookmark this. Hold me to it. When we get over the hump and win something, Always Irish is hosting a party, and it's going to be ravenous. We will have earned it. Okay, so let's hope we get to that point. The drinking over here has started with the wife, and got this up on the big screen. Oh, buddy. Ooh, boy. Good luck. Nikki Dean, I see you. You're coming up too. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. This is our day. Is anybody, I remember when I was a little kid, the leprechaun used to come, like the Easter Bunny and Santa, with the leprechaun used to come, and then there would be Notre Dame stuff all over posters and sweatshirts and jerseys and those gold chocolate coins all over the living room, and my parents would say the leprechaun came. And it was the best day ever. And then me and Andrew went to school all excited with our leprechaun stuff. And then all the other little kids are like mad because the leprechaun visited us and he didn't go to their house. This ain't Santa Claus, kids. He don't come to every door. He only goes where the Irish people are. I always remember that. I remember being like, Mom, why doesn't the leprechaun go and see bring the other kids Notre Dame stuff? We thought we were special. Oh, man. Speaking of family, Always Irish Senior. Good to see you. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. John, the Irish soda bread is ready. My dad makes a mean loaf, bro. I'm talking about that soda bread loaf that's like 5 pounds, that heavy-duty stuff with the good crust. He don't buy it. He makes it. So he's got the old Irish recipe from his dad. Or mom over in the Kennedy household there. $5 holler. Left the wife at the bar. Almost forgot you were going live tonight, Johnny. Phil, I appreciate the loyalty, but you don't need to do that. You could be with your wife at the bar. You don't have to leave just because I'm yelling about football. Watch it on the replay. $19.09 holla. Notre Dame lacrosse school. There you go. No. They're a fencing school. I like that, dude. You know how many times I sat at Notre Dame Stadium mad because the football team's not good at football, and then they announce like the 28th winning fencing championship team every NBC timeout. They're bringing out another championship team at Notre Dame, and you know what? None of them are ever football. I take that back. One time they brought out a championship team, and it was the handful of guys alive when Frank was doing it. Son of a gun. Rough. Donnie White, you're the man. I can always depend on you, Donnie. $5 from my main man, Martinez. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's go. Saturday Night Live. Man, you're the one that's the danger zone, bro. I feel like I would love hanging out with this guy so much, I'd get in trouble. Like that, I honestly feel that way. I would love hanging out with him so much, we would get in trouble. Like, just not intentionally, just the way it would happen. Just the way it would happen. Craig, what's going on? Oh, I get it. 574. I'm on to you, Craig. Also, Craig. All right, phone lines were coming to you. I'm caught up. Also, Craig was over at Notre Dame today, kind of, I think, helping me take care of a little Always Irish, little something we got cooking up. He was on campus, him and his daughter, cooking up some things here for Always Irish. And I appreciate you guys for doing that. I like how that's going, Craig. More on that coming up. So we could shoot anywhere you guys want to go. I got caught up now. Pour yourself some Guinness and enjoy anything. Quarterback race. Did Notre Dame negotiate a good, fair CFP deal? What are you expecting out of spring practice when we return? It was kind of a weird dynamic how they started and then stopped and whatever. And then you get this little piece to think about, and now they're coming back. I want to know what you think about all this stuff. All right. We got a pretty good, juicy lineup here. So get to your points and we'll go from there. Not trying to be rude. It's just the only way I know how to keep it moving. If I can hit the button, 570. What do you know? Good to see you, man. Well, I'm not seeing you. Good to talk to you. I miss you.
Hey, Johnny, how are you, buddy? Good to hear you again.
I'm doing very well, my friend. Thanks for giving me a call. I can always rely on you. You're the first one in here every time we do one of these shows. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you and your family. I hope you're all doing well. What's on your mind, Tony?
Happy St. Patrick's Day Eve to you also. The brisket, the cabbage, the potatoes, and the carrots are ready to roll in the morning.
There you go.
In the slow cooker, and we'll celebrate tomorrow.
Oh, that sounds good. So Tony, we're in spring now. There's a lot of movement in college football. Notre Dame's getting worked up into the spring lather here. Big year 3 for Freeman. We all know that history of Notre Dame coaches in year 3. What's on your mind? You thinking about this CFP format? You thinking about spring ball, the quarterbacks? What's on your mind?
Well, I've been thinking about a lot of things. First thing I'd like to say is that I think it's been an impressive off season with the acquisitions of coaches and also the keeping of Bowden. I think that's probably as big as the Denbrook hire is. The Bowden retention is just as impressive, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm looking forward to all that coming together to help Coach Freeman and the team.
Yeah, they had a really good winner. Really good winner, Tony. Really good winner. Like they just kept checking winning boxes throughout the winter, and a lot of them were big ones. And so now it's time to pull it all together. But really, really productive offseason from the end of the bowl game till now. That's for sure.
Yep. And you've talked about that many times on the morning show. The 43, I don't know if this is good or bad, but the 43 that I submitted tonight was, I was in Hilton Head for the month of February, and I played golf, and I committed to myself that whatever my best score was on a 9, I would commit to John. And
oh man, Tony, I wish you were a lot worse at golf.
I'm not good, but I was happy with my 43, and the freaking alligator almost ate my ball.
Yeah, I did. I saw that message. You're gonna end up like Chubbs on Happy Gilmore there, man. You're gonna end up with a wooden hand. You got to watch out for those gators. That Titleist isn't worth it, buddy. Just let it go and throw another one down.
Yeah, I was shocked at how big the alligators were, but actually it was February and they were rather docile. They weren't moving around a lot. They must have just come out of, I don't know if they hibernate. I don't know anything about alligators other than they scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, I'm not going to test that hibernation theory. I'm glad you made it out with all your appendages so that you could use that arm to drink some beers at the Blue and Gold tailgate coming up, man.
I'm really looking forward to that. And I will say this, and I guess it's a plug, but it's not a plug, but some purchases from Subway alumni. And the first Lewski I received came in 3 pieces, thanks to the United States Postal Service, but they were quick to replace it. And I have a 1-piece Lewski, and
there you go.
The guy at Subway alumni was very gracious and we communicated quite a bit.
But dude, it's so funny. It's so funny though. The whole point of that thing is that it's a full ski in 1 piece, and the Postal Service breaks it over their knee and then drops it off and counts it as delivered. It's just amazing how things work. It's just amazing, man. It's just amazing. Here you go. Like, you got double the skis, but they're each for a midget. Like, now you got 4 skis that are 2 feet each.
It was hilarious. And I love our postal carrier. He's a great guy, and I talk to him regularly. But he had to deliver it as it was because it is what it is. I don't know who broke it, but
Yeah.
hey,
Well, at
matter.
least they took care of it for you. And thank you for supporting the cause too. I'm sure those guys appreciate you.
And I have a real good friend who's good at woodworking, and he's pasting together the broken one. So I'm going to have two skis. I'll bring them out for the spring game.
There you go. I love it, man. So I don't know, man. The vibes are pretty good, and the spirits are up, and it feels like Notre Dame's in position to be able to round this into form in year 3. Most people feel like the schedule is pretty favorable. It's spread out in a way last year's wasn't. Give you some breathers in between big moments. This is going to be a big year, Tony. And so we better all enjoy the spring and the summer, because before you know it, August will be here. We'll all be stressing out again. So I'm just trying to go with the flow and relax a little bit and chill out while I can. It's hard for me to do, though.
Well, I understand that. And, I've said it more than once. I'm not a long-term Notre Dame fan, but I'm a perpetual Marcus Freeman fan. And you know why, but nobody works harder than Coach Freeman, and I just hope that the fanatics, short for fan, the fans understand that 2 years versus 12 years versus the previous coach. I'm not asking for give the guy a break. No. He knows what he's in for, and he knows what he has to do, but nobody works harder than him. And the trolls will continue to do what they do, and that's fine. Yeah. Everybody's welcome. It's America. We're freedom of speech. We can do whatever we want, say whatever we want within respect. But I appreciate how you feel about the coach, and you know how I feel about him, and I'm not going to say anything more.
Yeah, nope, I know. And I noticed that hard work, and a lot of it's done behind the scenes. A lot of it doesn't get a lot of publicity. There's a lot of back work that's being done. I just want to see it for him and for us and the team. I want to see it all pay off. And if it does pay off, then all those people come around. Tony, I think you got a lot of people that have a lot of Notre Dame scar tissue, and their default is something bad's going to happen, because for their whole lives, something bad has happened. Okay. And I just think it's going to take different results for some of those people to be able to look at it differently. And I understand that pain. But I do always take the chance to bring up that work ethic. It means the world to me. I tell you all the time, when I lay my head down, my little Irish head on the pillow, knowing that guy's doing everything he can to get us right helps me sleep better at night.
Well, I've also told you in the past that I'm a Penn Stater, and I'm 68 years old, and for a vast majority of my life, I probably 45 to 50 years of my life, Paterno was the coach at Notre Dame, and we won, I think, 2 national titles, but there are many years where you just think, what the hell's going on here? And he was at the helm for 46 years or 40, whatever the number was. But I was a Paterno disciple, and I believed in the process, and I believe, unfortunately, it came to an ugly end. But fans are fanatic, and I understand that. But here's what I do know: I do know that the guy in charge of Notre Dame right now, I don't think anybody can outwork him, and I don't think anybody's a better person than him.
Yeah. Yep. And so I want to see it pay off so that everybody comes over to that side too. I see the groundwork. I see the back end work. I see them grinding. I see the effort. And it's just, we got to get it all rounded into form to see it on the field, Tony. Thanks for giving me a call, man. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And I can't wait to see you guys in a few weeks. That'll be great.
I'll be there, and I'll show up early, and hopefully we have a good weather day, and look forward to seeing you, John, and all the rest of the Irish family, and God bless you all, and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, thank you. You too, Tony. We'll see you in a few weeks, man. Safe travels. Safe travels. Good dude. It's the weather, you guys. It's just, we just need decent weather. And again, I admit the weather last year was everything. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Literally, I had a t-shirt on, a winter coat on. We had everything. We literally had snow, freezing rain, sun, but I also got to tell you this. When you're drinking a bunch of Miller Lights for breakfast, it doesn't really mess you up. It'll come back. If I'm frozen on the screen, it'll come back in a second. I see that the internet's being weird. Give it a second. It'll come back. Let me know if I'm still frozen. I see that little internet thing. It'll come back. When you're drinking the Miller Lights for breakfast, it really doesn't affect you that much. I should be coming back if I froze. When you drink Miller Lights for breakfast, the weather doesn't bother you that much. I wasn't cold. I wasn't wet. I wasn't nothing. We had a great day. 202, we're talking to you. It's been a while. It's been a few months. What's going on?
John, happy St. Patrick's Day, and Michigan sucks.
Yeah, they certainly do.
19-9, my friend. 19-9.
Yeah, they are. You know what I'm waiting for with them is I'm waiting for this NCAA infraction committee to actually nail them in the future and the past for their misdeeds.
Oh, honey.
I am.
Honey, it's not going to happen.
No. I'm waiting. No. I need justice on this. And I don't care if you want to.
It won't happen.
I don't care if you want to do the Reggie Bush thing where it's like, John, he accepted a house or whatever, but you saw him win the Heisman with your own eyes. I certainly did. This is about legal justice on a document. I want an asterisk near that title. And in the future, I want no bowl games for about 5 or 6 years. I want reduced scholarships. I want the coaches that didn't leave with Harbaugh to be in trouble. I need justice. I need justice.
I'm not going to rob anybody of their dream, but I just don't see it happening.
Oh.
I'm just moving on.
Okay,
But
fine.
I will say I had a fun moment. I had a call involving my work a couple weeks ago with someone I used to work with, and actually a really, really, really good person. But not only did they go to Michigan, they got their JD from Michigan.
Ugh.
Also, and left before the playoff took place, but right during the top of the scandal.
Man.
And I just never said a word to this person, and they knew better than to directly address me about it. And we just sort of let it lie. So we're on this call in front of a whole bunch of people, and this person says to me, I love her. I miss working with her, but I will say she never called me to congratulate me on Michigan's football championship. And I'm like, oh, you don't want to do this in front of people, yo. You don't.
Man.
That's just a bad move, my love. Just no.
I need justice.
Yeah. Anyway, Michigan sucks. They showed up at Notre Dame on Green Day, thought they were cool, and then they quickly learned that they were deeply uncool.
Yep.
Also, John, I don't want to be schoolmarmish, but like March Madness does matter when our girls are
that's
staring
true.
down the barrel of the Final Four, dear.
I mean, I
like,
guess
you gotta give respect.
I guess I will say that whenever the Notre Dame teams are in it, then that's my reason to watch, but I'm not going to. I have a limited amount of emotion, and you know where most of it must be directed to for me to survive. I just don't have a lot of extra to give for stuff I'm not a diehard about. So when the Notre Dame teams are in it, I watch and I want them to do well, but I'm not gambling on it. I'm not like on the edge of my seat like I am with football. It's just a different animal to me.
It's a different animal, and I never gamble on sports anyway or on anything else, but it's Neil. It's Maddie, who's been here forever. It's Hannah Hidalgo, who was robbed of Freshman of the Year so that, of course, ESPN could give it to a Trojan. Sure, fine. That's great.
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
Hey, we'll see. Well, it's good to see them cooking and tough injury stuff this year, too. Overcome that. It's beautiful. And so let me redirect this. We got to talk about some football here. I'd be remiss if we went too long without that. Let me ask you this. I haven't talked to you in a while. What result would make you say next year's a successful season? And I realize that's not as easy of a question to answer as it used to be because of the playoff. It's changing the calculus of what people are going to count as a good year, a bad year. Is just making the playoff enough for you? Does it matter if that's 10-2 or 11-1? Do they have to win a game in the playoff for it to be success to you? How are you looking at this with the landscape completely shifting?
Success is one loss. How many AQ in the 12-team format this go around?
I think it's going to be
5?
all the Power 5 conference champions, I believe 5 and then 7. Yeah. So those 5 and then you have 7. Okay. I think, yeah, man, 11-1. 11-1 is where people are at. Every time I ask this year, 11-1 is where a lot of people are falling. So those are high standards. Yep. And I like it. You should have high standards.
I mean, it's a very weak schedule. We got Florida State at home, which should make the difference. So we're allowed to lose one. We'll get to the playoffs, and we have to win our first playoff game. Would you
consider coming home for that? Coming to South Bend for that? It would be. It's weird timing. It'd be like the week of Christmas or the week before Christmas, December 20th or something is that first round. If we hosted it, oh man, that would be interesting. That's going to be a hot ticket.
Yeah, I would totally come back for that.
The colder, the better, too. That's the other thing. I'm going to tell you.
It's a Southern team.
Yeah, God bless you. Dress warm, but I hope it's cold as can be because those Southern guys do not like it, man. Lighting barrels of trash on fire on the sideline just to get some warmth, like a guy under the subway, train station or something. I love it. I love it. No, you ever see these people? Every time one of those teams come to Notre Dame, half the teams wearing those full Under Armour things underneath their face mask
with the head.
Yeah, the head one. It isn't the regular arm one. It's the head one gets me. It looks like I want to be like, are you robbing a 7-Eleven or playing in this game, son? What are we doing here? Or maybe we're doing both, depending on what team I'm talking about. But it always cracks me up because those guys just look physically miserable. And then I know we got you. Then I know you're in your own head before we even kick this thing off. I want it cold.
Absolutely. And I mean, good God, December in South Bend, sugar, that's 6 inches.
Yeah.
You can't even see the hash mark.
Oh, hey.
Oh, that'd be so much
Now
fun.
you watch. It'll be one of those Decembers where it's 62 degrees that day. But whatever. I'll just be glad if we get there. And then I got to ask you.
If we don't get there, John.
Oh, boy.
Whew, if we don't get there.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's going to be an issue.
So look, here's me. Here's me right now. I'm saying it. And you know that I am older than you are, and I've watched more football than you have. This is the best Notre Dame staff since the 70s.
It's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one. We've got
the 2 best coordinators in the country.
Seriously,
period.
When was the last time I thought about this? When was the last time that you really felt comfortable and confident pretty fully on both sides of the ball, where you are like, I trust that the guy running all this and putting this together has a really good idea of what we need to do this week? I don't remember the last time I had this much faith in both guys. I've had faith in one before, but to have both, this kind of changes things. I'm hoping we see a difference.
No, this is Lou Holtz. This is Lou Holtz, late 80s is what this is.
Oh, it's such a good staff. And all that does is frees Freeman up. It frees him up for more of his development and to do more of the CEO stuff, take a little bit of the worry off him to be able to. I love this dynamic. If you are ever going to properly support a young learning coach, this is how you do it with those guys on each side of the ball. And neither one of them are looking to ego up and get out of here for a bigger gig in a year. This is not a leverage play. Both of these guys want to be at Notre Dame. They love Notre Dame, and they want to work for Freeman, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
You know what? At this point, the way the world works, even if it is a leverage up stepping stone situation. I don't care. They're here now. And if they do want to use this as a stepping stone, that means we have to win. So I don't even care. And, you know, I don't know why, but I was today thinking about the Ohio State game. And oh my God, all we needed was 2 first downs to win the game. And we had Audric Estimate and we couldn't get 2 first downs. And we all know why. And I don't want to be mean. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If we had practically any other OC in the country.
It was
just
bad.
Saying. Anyway.
It was bad. Audric.
We do have the OC.
Audric should have been able to have a moment. He was put on this earth.
He should have won that game on his own. He could have won that game on his own.
He was put on this earth and he has that body for that moment on that one night under those lights with all of America watching. That is why he was put on earth. The guy in Rudy, the priest in Rudy was right. You got to be as your gifts and you got to take advantage of what the good Lord gives you. He was there in the moment, and all you got to do is just hand them the ball.
He was ready.
Just give him the ball a few more times. I just can't. I will never fully get over that. So, but whatever. That was by far the worst night I've ever had on this show. It was absolutely miserable. I was so mad. I was seeing stars. It was a rough night for all of us. It was really, really bad.
I just couldn't believe it.
But I'm glad we did it.
Couldn't believe it.
I'm glad we did the show, though. We needed it. Our people needed it.
So here's me with this new CFP business.
Yeah.
This is next level Games of Thrones stuff that's going on right now. So I preface this by saying I don't know anybody in the AD's office, and I don't work at the law firm that would be handling what I'm about to talk about. But this is what I think is happening. The playoff committee knows if they try to shut us out, we are going to so effing sue them into oblivion. They know it. They see it. The complaint is written, dude. Section 2, group boycott. It's coming. So you better make us happy. And so that's why all this is coming out about, Notre Dame would still make $12 million. It'll be fine. Yeah, well, we're looking at what? 14 team CFP, 12 AQs? So we have to be the 2 other at-larges?
No. That can't be it. That's not the deal, right?
That's what I've seen.
No way.
Yeah, Big Ten and SEC each get 3. ACC and Big 12 get 2 each.
I didn't think that was the setup.
There's 11 or 12 AQs. It is a very, very, very high number. And I know that the SEC and the Big Ten each get 3.
I didn't.
And the ACC and the Big Ten.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
that is not. That was not my interpretation when I read the fallout from that situation. That's not how I interpreted that, unless I'm wrong.
Well,
that was proposed. I saw that being proposed.
It's not final yet. It is not final yet. And yesterday they did this sort of interim, sort of midterm term sheet, kind of back of the envelope agreement. So it's not final. But everything that I've seen in the last 6 weeks is 14 teams, all of these AQs. There would be 2 or 3 AQs left. We would have to be ranked somewhere up there.
I'm
pretty sure.
That's not the last thing I read. And now that's bugging me because now that's in my brain. And if that's the case, that's an issue. But that's not what I was running off of. So that would be a little bit alarming. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
But here's the thing. If we sign off on it, we can't sue because we were part of it. That's the thing. They need to keep us in the tent because they know we will so completely effing sue them. So it's this game of chicken But my issue with this whole thing is they've already played their trump card and they've put Michigan in charge of the CFP committee.
Yeah, I know.
Which means,
isn't it great? It's just like, we want to instill confidence in the public in our new playoff system. So we are going to find the most upstanding guy doing this we can. Like, I just can't. It's just so tone deaf that it makes me chuckle. It's hilarious. It's a riot.
So I mean, yeah, and I think that's why the 14 team format is still under consideration, and they haven't been able to get it even to a vote. So they've just come up with this sort of midterm thing, and they're mostly talking about money.
Well, yeah, it's really funny to me that the first thing they figure out is the money. Like, let's figure out how much money we're getting, and what's it going to look like? Well, I don't know. We'll get to that later, but let's make sure we're all getting our money. It's really kind of funny to me. So I don't know. This is all going to be wild. Let me ask you this. Are you coming in for blue and gold? Wait for the weather? What's the deal?
You know, I had a whole sweet deal set up for last blue gold, including a room at the Morris End, and then work prevented me from coming. And then I watched people getting snowed on television. So yeah, I'm still iffy on it, even though they very smartly moved it back about as late as they possibly could. I do have arrangements all set for, I don't remember now. What's the game that you're doing the tailgate
Miami, for? Ohio.
Miami, yeah. So I'm still thinking about it. Maybe
see how it works out.
But again,
see what the forecast is like, because who knows? It could be rough. It could be fine. See what it's like.
And my last thing I'll leave you with is, I didn't want another transfer quarterback, but he's here, so he's here. I just don't. Yeah. I don't see a world in which we don't lose a kid who has the initials KM, and that just makes me really sad. Yeah, I really wanted to.
It's going to be an issue.
I really wanted to see him in a gold helmet.
It's going to be an issue. So we are going to need to see how this plays out and what decisions are made. So yeah, that it is going to be an issue, but it is not lost on me. Riley Leonard does not have the transfer smoke that Hartman had. I think people are a little down on the transfer thing, ready to try and hitch our wagon to a guy full time. Maybe after this year, that's where we need to go. And I'd be on board with that. Hey, I really appreciate you touching base. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye, John.
Take care. Take care. Yeah, exactly. And thank you for the donation too. Oh, she's so interesting, man. She has all the lawyer tricks. It's good to have some Notre Dame lawyers on your side. I like that. Oh, man. Let's keep it rolling. We still got callers. 765. Make it come alive. Good morning. What's going on? Good morning. I mean, good night.
Oh, Johnny boy. Erwin Go Bra.
What's going on, my friend? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. It's been a while. What's new?
Yeah, it's been a minute. I just got a few things I wanted to talk to because I listen to all your shows. My work schedule, I can't get on any of the morning shows, but when you do these evening shows, I like getting on, man.
Beautiful. So, what's on your mind? There's a lot to pick from too. What's on your mind? We can go wherever you want to go, baby.
I've got a few things here, man. So what do I want to see out of the spring game? With all the talent Notre Dame has acquired and all this talent that they're still going after, I just want to see no injuries. I don't want to make it tough on the coaching staff to say, who are we going to put out there? I don't want them to have to default to number 2 or number 3 because of an injury. I want our best players to be out there and be injury-free for the Blue Gold game and fall camp as well.
Hey, you know what that makes me think of? What is the timetable of Evans' comeback? That's something I was wondering about. When he got that injury, I'm wondering at what point in the year he'll come back, because it's definitely not going to be spring. Is it October? Sounds right. I'm wondering. That's on my radar too with him.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit later. That'll make it interesting. But that's my thing for the spring game. So here's my second point, John. with Notre Dame, when you said the other day they were at tier 2 and they bumped them up to where they're going to get $12 million, we still don't know the money on the NBC deal, do we?
50. I think people are saying it was like 50 today, and then you get what, 17 from the ACC part of that deal, something like that. So 67, and then plus what you're going to get from this playoff. So it's going to be around 80 kind of total is kind of what people are figuring it to be, around 50 for the NBC. Then you get a piece of that other the NBC deal, 50, a piece from the ACC, and then you add in the 12 or whatever. That's how people are getting near that 80 million a year number.
I think that's why they took, they're going to take that deal, is because of the NBC contract.
Yeah. And
they could take a lower tier because they're going to make up for it with the NBC.
Yeah.
NBC contract.
The reality is Notre Dame was always going to have to make some concessions here. Being the independent, wanting a piece of the conference pie and the playoff thing, and you're outnumbered in that negotiating room, Notre Dame was always going to have to make certain concessions. They just were. And I think the fans are okay with the no buy thing for the most part. It's not ideal, but you feel like that's worth the price of admission. And so I don't know. Do you think Notre Dame's navigating this okay, on our behalf, the powers that be negotiating for us?
Yeah, but so they don't get a bye in the playoffs, but they still get a bye week because they don't have to play for a championship.
Yeah, and Freeman even said that. Literally, Freeman exactly said that. He was asked about that in an interview, and he goes, we look at it as we are getting a bye. It's just going to be on conference championship weekends, our bye. And then we just keep it moving, and you play another game hopefully at home.
Right. Okay, now let's get into the spicy stuff. I got a couple spicy ones here for you.
Ooh, baby.
So it's year 3 of Freeman, right? And we all know the history of, Notre Dame coaches in year 3. So here's what I want to predict, and I hope I'm right. This is a bold prediction. I hope I'm right. I hope I'm right. Year 3, Notre Dame gets a playoff. They get in the playoffs. They win the home field advantage thing, because I think they're going 12-0. I really, really do.
Ooh! It does. Listen, it really does. It really does set up well. You're not in a different country. You're not playing 2 months in a row. You don't have 4 night games against undefeated teams in a row. The spacing of this schedule alone is way more favorable than last year. Sets Notre Dame up, especially if you could come out of Texas A&M with the win. Then you're attaching a rocket ship to this baby.
And the thing you said, I think it was Friday or your Wednesday show, talking, you even asked the one caller, the guy that falls asleep all the time on you. You asked him, you said, well, what do you think about the how slow we start on the away games? Hey, that was last year, but the year before, away, we were stronger. And I think that was just Freeman trying to get his legs under him and everything. Now that he's got, the OC and the DC that he wanted, I think he's got more time to get this team ready. He's proven he can get them ready for the road because he did it the year before last. Last year was where he had his struggles on the road.
Why do you think that is? It was more than a trend. It happened almost every road game, even the ones we ended up winning by a lot. We started out lackluster. I've been racking my brain all winter trying to figure out why that happened. Improper preparations. I just don't know. They played so much better at home. Every time they played at home, it's a thing, and it bothers me.
Yeah, we talked about that several times last year after every road game. Why do they start so slow? Why do they come out so sluggish? But I think he's going to get that turnaround this year. That's why I'm thinking 12-0 is very, very doable.
Ooh, so 12-0, then you're pretty much assured the 5 seed, and then you're going to have that cold home playoff game. That is Notre Dame's most. Man.
And then here's my prediction. Here's what I hope happens. Kelly with LSU has to come up here, and because his third year at Notre Dame, he did well.
Yeah.
And Freeman's going to take him down.
Oh, man.
And spoil his third year.
Now, here's the issue, though. Kelly lost a lot of talent, and he lost at quarterback. He lost a lot of talent. I'm hoping he doesn't even make it this year, so we don't even have that problem. Like that, I don't even have to worry about beating him because he has 3 or 4 losses or something, doesn't even make it. That's my plan.
You would rather him not make it than him coming to Notre Dame Stadium in late December and we wax him?
Well, you're
really?
Only if you're guaranteeing me the win, which you can't do. You're hoping it ends in a win. If you were going to guarantee me a win, then I would take that. Otherwise, I'd prefer we make the playoff and they're sitting at home. Yeah. But if you're going to assure me the win against them, I'll take it. But you can only do that in theory and hope.
Right. But here's the thing. For us to be able to beat them, if we're the 5 seed, they would have to be the 12 seed, correct?
Yeah, well,
so it would be the better
so.
team with the better talent.
Yeah, it would just, oh man. Imagine those paths crossing. Can you imagine the media buildup for that moment, especially if both teams are really good? Could you imagine that buildup, especially if both teams have real aspirations? Ooh, that'd be wild.
Yeah, that would be cool. Here's my last thing, John. And this one's going to make you. Here's where it's going to be all on you.
Oh boy.
So what if you could have started, if we had YouTube and all that back in say 2007, and you started your show with Charlie Weiss having the record he had, because 2007 he was 3-9, 2008 he was 7-6, and then 2009 he was 6-6. I mean, the way you started your show going after Kelly, and he was a pretty successful coach as far as wins go. Didn't win anything big. Didn't take us to took us to the Natty. Couldn't win it. Couldn't win the big one. But you being where could you imagine yourself with Charlie Weiss having this show, and then go to the third year of Kelly, because Kelly went 8-5, and then 12-1.
Yeah,
you would have been all with Kelly like Freeman. I think you got people like Andrew Gilmore. He's always, getting on you about being a Freeman lover and all that, and other people. But you would have been the same way with Kelly if you'd have went back in time. Did you ever think of that?
I did think of it. This show would have had a decided schematic advantage. Let's just put it that way on the market. If I would have started that much earlier, we would have had a decided schematic advantage, just like Charlie always used to set up. And it would have been wild. Man, that's a long time ago too. It feels like a long time ago, but it wasn't a long time ago. Do you know what I mean? Like that seems like it was forever ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does, but long ago,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I had tonight for you, John.
Hey, man.
We are bringing a host of people to the Blue Gold game.
Oh, awesome, man.
And we got a couple little special things for you that's going to be pretty cool and pretty fun.
Oh man, dude, it means the world to me. The only thing is I just hope for good weather, but we're going to have a good crew. The crew is growing. Goolsby's going to make sure he's there and probably have some of his old player buddies with him. If we could just get decent weather, this is going to be a really fun opportunity. And you know what, man, I really love it because it's low key. There's not 100,000 people. We're not all stressed out. You're not worried about parking and waiting and all that. It's a really low key way to be at Notre Dame and enjoy some football and some beers. I'm excited, man. I love it. We have a fun group and it's growing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. Okay, John, thanks for taking my call, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, as always, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate you. All the support, the donations. Really good guy. Oh, all right. Let's keep it moving. We still got people. 740. And then Craig, you're coming up next. What's going on, 740? I'm afraid to know.
Hey, Don. This is Sally. This is Mark with Glass's wife. Happy St. Patrick's Day Eve.
Oh, you too. Can I just say thank you for dealing with us? Thank you for dealing with us. I seriously, I know you got to deal with him, and then you got to deal with me by proxy. I really appreciate it. I really do. It means the world to me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, but no. I'm right there with you guys. So this is a really good community, and I love it. So I love listening with Mark, and anytime I can sit with him and watch you guys or listen in for a little bit, I really enjoy it. So thank you.
That means the world. It really does. That means the world to me.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, that chain bestowing scene at the tailgate. It was just like meant. It was just like meant to be. And look at me. I wear it every single day now on the show. But like the weird thing is,
I see.
I have never met Mark other than on Twitter and this show.
Uh-huh.
But he just gets me, man. He just gets me. Every single like little sense of humor thing and my little like, I have no swag, but that's the swag, is that I don't have the swag and I flip it. Like it all just made perfect sense. And then I turn around and he bestowed this chain on me. It was all perfect. It was just perfect. So thank you guys for that. Although I got to tell you, he knows this. I upgraded the rope.
Yeah.
I upgraded the chain a little bit. I had a little thicker one around the house.
Yeah.
And so I did upgrade the gold a little bit. I want to know where to gold at. I upgraded.
Nice.
But
It looks good.
I'm telling you,
You're sporting it well.
it is.
Yeah.
This group is fun.
Well, I gotta tell you,
this group is fun
all in.
and it's growing. I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's going in a really good direction, and it just kind of makes it even that just more fun to look forward to, like after the game. You know, when you're on it before the game, and it just gets everybody excited and hyped up. And yeah, he's also working on something else, so you just wait.
Oh man,
for the 420.
Oh
yeah.
It's just
he's excited. He's all in. I've been on his side with this project, so
listen,
I hope everybody likes it. I hope you do.
It's just like it's not lost on me, all the stress and anxiety that goes into being a Notre Dame football fan. And we have our practice scrimmage on 420. It's just the most perfect thing. It's just like, what does everybody need to relax? Smoke weed every day. Hit that Nate Dogg button. Hit the Nate Dogs. It's just a riot to me. So maybe South Bend will be it'll be smoky. I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. Well, I'm going to hang up now, but thank you so much for what you do. And I love the community. So keep doing what you're doing.
Hey,
Happy St. Patty's Day.
I really appreciate the support. Keep Mark in line over there, okay? And hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
I will.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Bye.
You too. Take care. Dude, what is with these people all being nice and like liking me? What the heck is going on here? Look at Mark. He said, hang up on my wife, please. Dude, that's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. He's sitting there doing his normal thing, and he's like probably sitting right by her. Hang up on my wife, please. Mark, she's so nice. She's so nice. That was wonderful. Oh, Craig, what's going on? 574. And then Nick, you're coming up next. I got an 812, and then we got a few more after that. What's going on, Craig?
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? Good to talk to you.
Oh, it's going great. Hey, am I misinformed, or were you guys on campus getting some stuff done for the brand today? I'm excited about this news, Craig.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day on campus. I'll hook up with you to talk about the details. But yeah, it was fun. It's never a bad day when you're on campus. There was actually a wedding going on too, so that was cool. I never saw a wedding going on campus, and so I asked my daughter about that. She says, "Yeah, you got to rent the Basilica or rent it or whatever, reserve it, like 5 years ahead of time." And I'm thinking, man, that's pretty wild. They're probably reserving it before they even find somebody to marry.
Yeah, dude, that is weird. I've been to one Notre Dame wedding, Craig, at the cathedral, and it was the day of Notre Dame at Michigan 2011. Remember their first night game at the Big House or whatever? And we wore the beautiful throwback whites and we blew the game and at the last minute. Do you remember that moment?
Yes, I do.
So
yes.
What they did was since it was an away game, you could use the cathedral for the wedding. And then for the reception also on campus, there was like one little TV or something that they had up. And I'm like, I can't do this. So I ate my food right away. And then I said I had to go to the bathroom. And then I snuck out the back door and then ran downtown to some dumpy bar. I told them, I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. I ate my steak on the run, went out the back door, ran down there, went some crappy bar in the old part of now. I don't even know where it was. And then I watched that game and drank, and then we blew it. And then I was depressed, wandering around in my dress clothes, alone, drunk, in bed by myself, and it was awful. That's my story. Great start to the marriage, Craig.
Yeah, and that can be dangerous walking around South Bend at night.
Oh, dude, I was wandering, I was wandering around, no idea where I was going, all mad. I had my little Black and Mild going, my little tip, I'm walking around with my little Black and Mild, all mad, and I'm going, why am I? And then I'm like, I don't even want to think about football or anything. I get back to the hotel room and I lay down and it's Notre Dame pictures on the wall. I'm like, dude, I need to get out of here. This is just not a good night for me. Just not a good night for me, Craig. Excited to see you, Craig.
Beautiful.
I'm excited to see you in a few weeks. I really am. This will be great.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have a good time. We were talking about that a lot today too. So, I have a lot to share with you. And but I wanted to talk a little bit of football tonight.
Beautiful.
And a quick question. It's just in your opinion, do you think Notre Dame will eventually go to the Big Ten? Is it inevitable? What's your opinion?
All right. I think it depends primarily on two things. The playoff access remaining feasible and reasonable. Right now, if you just got to give up the bye or whatever, people could live with that. So that's one part of it. The money's the other part of it. You just got to thread the needle to where you could be independent, make the playoff, and have reasonable, chance to make a run. And then the money's just got to be in the ballpark. You can't end up 20 million down from Rutgers every year, and in 5 years you're down 100 million to Rutgers. You can't do that. So right now they feel like it's close enough that they could thread the needle and still compete and make their money and whatever. You got to see if that changes though. And if it changes and they feel like it, they'll move right into the Big Ten and play an exciting schedule, and everybody will be upset for a while and then move on and get used to it. That's my prediction. But as long as they could compete financially and have reasonable playoff access, they're not going to feel the need to do that. What if the ACC craters though, Craig? What if the ACC falls apart because the top couple teams leave? Then what happens? Because Notre Dame's got to worry about all those other teams, not just football. All the sports. So what happens then? That's on my radar too, because it's kind of out of Notre Dame's control.
Yeah, I'm seeing so many numbers being thrown around. Like, I don't know what to believe. And so, yeah, that's why I was just asking, like, what does your gut tell you? Because, a part of me says, if it's inevitable, like, what are we waiting for? It's like, let's just do it.
Craig, maybe I can answer that. It's a really good question. Maybe the answer is Bavak was starting his tenure as Notre Dame's AD, and he realizes how much everybody values independence, and he's going to do everything he can to try and run that out and give us a chance to succeed in the new realities of the playoff as far as he can, as long as he can, until it doesn't work anymore. Maybe he just doesn't want to be the one to pull that plug until you're absolutely backed into a corner with no choice and they don't feel like they're there yet. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, but I think a part of it is Bavakwa coming in, and that's part of the transition. I think that, I think he's somebody that may be wanting to lean that way. I get the whole tradition thing, but think about it, John. Tradition has been getting swallowed up there since the 90s. Like, have you seen all the old stadium? You can't even see it anymore. So yeah, tradition has been swallowed up.
That's a good point.
Since the 90s.
And you know what else you would hear? Proponents of this, if Notre Dame did feel like they had to join the Big Ten, they would argue, if you join the Big Ten, you're actually gaining a little bit of tradition back, because you could rekindle a bunch of those Big Ten Notre Dame rivalries. And about half your schedule would be full of those games we all would like to see. It's a good plan B, Craig. It's a good plan B. I would not like it on the surface, and it would be an existential death for me with the independence going away. But if your plan B you don't want to do guarantees you more money, more security, and a better schedule, that's a good plan B, Craig. I don't like it, but plan B is more money, a more interesting schedule, and stability. It's a good plan B.
Yeah.
If you ever got to go there, it's a good plan B.
And speaking of the schedule, so let's say they do join the Big Ten. How many games do they have to commit to playing Big Ten teams? And then how many on the schedule can they try to schedule, some of the rival, well, not rivals, but, like a Navy or
I think it should go to 10.
Miami in there.
Shouldn't it be 10, Craig? If you're expanding the Big Ten as much as they are, I think it should be a 10 game in conference because there's so many teams in the Big Ten now. Adam's saying it's 9. So that would leave you 3 weeks of wiggle room. And the other thing to consider is you don't have to count USC in that because they're in the Big Ten. And that is our number. That's the number one priority. And then you would be able to preserve that no matter what. And then what did Stanford do?
Yeah.
Join the ACC, right? So then, I don't know. And then you could play Navy, I guess.
Well, yeah, you could do Navy, Stanford, and Boston College, or somebody like that.
I'm telling you though, that Big Ten schedule you would like. It would be a lot more compelling week to week than the ACC schedule we're in. If you're not playing Florida State, Miami, or Clemson, nobody cares about any of those ACC teams. I'm sorry, it's boring. I'm sorry, it's boring, Craig. I don't NC State yawn fest, bro. It's just boring. So I would not like it on the surface. It would be an existential funeral for me for independence. But the schedule itself would be a lot more intriguing week to week. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And you know me, I'm old school. I do like the tradition, but there's just it's getting to the point where I'm just like, you know what? It might be best if we start to lean more heavily towards the Big Ten. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be interesting.
It wouldn't kill me.
Yeah, and you know what else?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It wouldn't kill me.
I think it's good to have the option. It's good to have a comfortable, good option with where you could it would be a smooth thing if they ever need to do it. Let's just hope they don't. Craig, I want to ask you about 2024 Notre Dame. I'll ask you the same question I asked our Washington lawyer friend. I would love to know, what would it take for you to consider this year a success? What is that level?
Yeah, what would take me to consider this a success would be to make the playoffs. I don't care what the record is. Let's just get into the playoffs. Even if it's 2 losses and we're a 12 seed, I'll take it. So to me, that would be a success. Well, now hold on here. Okay, that would be a partial success, but winning a game in the playoffs, that would be a success. And then ultimately, we're not here just to win one game in the playoffs, but to win an Natty. But yeah, I don't care what the record is, as long as we get to at least a 12 seed and we win that first game and we have momentum to win, the rest if we can. So I don't do a 12 seed without 10 wins. But if we have 2 losses, I could see us sliding in there, but I also see, if it's the committee who decides it, they might want to leave us out on purpose, or maybe they would want to put us in for more money. I don't know, but I hate to put a number on a record, just as long as whatever the record is gets us in there.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We're not used to that margin, Craig. Usually you lose one game and you're like, oh man, that might be it. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird having a little more flexibility. And you know what it does? It keeps the vibes alive. It keeps your hope alive, a reason to hang in there late in the year when you have a couple losses. It definitely does that. Craig, let me ask you this. You're a very cerebral guy, man. You think about things deeply. You try and consider all options. Very reasonable, very fair. The whole time I've known you. What is your belief level in Marcus Freeman entering year 3 and why? That's a really good question.
I've never been more excited than since Lou Holtz was coaching. I just, the energy is fantastic. He's built a team around himself. It's one of those deals where, like you said, he can focus on other things in recruiting. It's like, he doesn't have to be so involved in the offense and defense. He's got the right guys in place that can manage that. This staff is, I couldn't ask for a better staff than what he's got surrounding him. So that's fantastic. So year 3, I think that is going to be a great year, and that momentum is going to keep going. I think what I would like to see in order for, a phenomenal year 3 and then moving forward is a little bit more a lot more leadership from the players on the field and on the sideline, more vocal. I don't see I haven't seen a lot of that. I'd like to see some more. So that's my opinion on that. But I'm feeling really good about this. What if people aren't on the Freeman train? Like, what would they want? Like, what else? I don't know. I don't see us doing better than what we have.
I think they want
he's just growing. You can see him growing.
Craig, I get nailed with this every day on the morning show. I'm a Freeman homer all the way. I take heat for it. I don't call him out for the things I would call Kelly out for. I take crap on all of this. People wanted less losses and elite recruiting. I think that's what they wanted. Maybe one or 2 less losses overall, and then they want they want that recruiting to be inside right around that top 5. In that's the sweet spot, but I don't think they've done enough on the field to crank that baby up to get it to that level yet. That's the thing. People are like, John, that recruiting isn't there yet, but it's pretty good. Maybe if you make a real run, maybe that's where you really pop off then. But make a really good run this year and get it up there.
Yeah, I think there was some quirky things that happened these first 2 seasons. That we were frustrated about. I was incredibly frustrated about, but you got to work out the kinks. And I think those first 2 years gave him that opportunity to do it. And now it's go time. Like, it's now or never. Like, he has to win now. And so I think he's worked out the kinks to get this team in a position to where we can feel really proud of the team and him as a coach. And I'm really excited. I haven't been this excited in a long time. I try not to drink the Kool-Aid. Every year it's just like, oh yeah, this might be the year, but this time I believe it a little bit more. So yeah, I feel really good about it. So I'm all about the Freeman factor. Like, let's do this, baby. Let's do it. We can do great things this year, and let's do it.
Yeah. And man, it feels to me like we're about to turn a corner here, right? Like, we're about to, that year 1, keep your head above water, learn on the fly, bad injury to your quarterback, you're screwed, keep from drowning. Year 2, recalibration, kind of figuring things out. It is time to round into form. You have the staff, like there's just the amount of excuses to not have this round into good form are falling away, and that's a good thing. So this is more and more and more about Freeman and his vision and his staff and his players. And you're starting to run out of all those other excuses. Me blaming Kelly for the roster, that's going away every year we get down the road until it's not an issue anymore. This is all picking up steam, and it's going to be exciting to see, man. It's going to be great.
Well, we really got to get Deuce Knight to sign the dotted line. I think when that happens, it's really going to solidify the future. The quarterback room is incredibly strong, and I'm a big CJ Carr guy, but man, you just can't keep your eyes off of Deuce. I saw something on Twitter today where he did like a Michael Jordan type slam dunk in basketball.
He's a freak.
Practice or something.
We don't get guys like that.
Freak.
We don't get those kind of guys at quarterback. This would be totally different. Where he's from, this is a prototypical SEC kid, and he loves Notre Dame, and he loves his staff, and he loves Freeman. And he is the type of athlete we don't get here. He's super raw. He is not polished, and I'm not telling you he's polished, but he is an athletic freak, the kind we do not see here at that position. And after all of the boring quarterback play we've suffered through the last 20 years, give me some of that. Give me some of that.
Yeah, this is a great problem to have. We have so many good quarterbacks, and I don't know, I don't know how it's going to work out with Leonard this year. I mean, maybe it will be great. Maybe, I don't know, not so much, but we have a lot to fall back on, and I want to see some playing time with some of these others. So the games that we should win, get ahead very early so that by the time the third quarter is over, we can get some of these other guys in there because I want to see them. I definitely want to see them. And the running back room, we didn't even hit on that. Like, Love is going to be a stud this year. I can't wait to see him. He reminds me so much of Ricky Waters.
Oh,
and
that's a good comp.
Yeah, I just, every time I see that dude run, it reminds me of Ricky Waters running it, down the field. It's just the speed, the move. Love it.
Yeah.
Every play, I just want to.
Those guys can pop.
Not there. I want to see him get the ball as much as possible.
Craig, we all loved Audric, and we're going to miss him. These guys, it's not going to be a 30-yard gain if there's a hole. It's a touchdown. That's the difference. These guys don't run people over like him, but if there is a gap, it's a touchdown. Like, they have that kind of speed. And Price, coming off another year of being off that injury and the recuperation, should be good to go. I'm excited, man. And hopefully I see you in a few weeks, man. It's going to be great. Hopefully the weather's good.
Yeah, it sounds great. When I see Always Irish Senior, I'm going to ask him for the natty party that you're going to have.
Oh, yeah.
If he'll be making that soda bread with the corned beef and cabbage and potatoes and stuff, because I want some of that if we win the natty.
Craig, I just hope we get there, man. I just hope this is a party I got a plan, buddy. But we're renting somewhere, and literally everyone is invited that I know. And if you want to come, we're going to party. Like, it is the least we could do.
All right.
It is the least we could do. Craig, you are one of the longest supporters of my show that I have. And you've been with me for the long run and always a supporter and always said, John, you do things different. It's, keep pushing. And I appreciate your friendship very much.
Yep, you got it, buddy. I appreciate you too. And thanks for having me. Have a good night, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Take care. What a lovely guy. Great family, man. Oh boy. All right. Couple super chats. Nick, you're coming up. We're going to hit the deans, because they love to be heard and seen. Look at this $100 holler from Domer Wop. I think he might have been at the bar all day, and now he's getting loose with the funds. I don't know what's going on. Getting loose with the funds after a bunch of beer. I don't know. $100 holler. I'm almost never on your live show, but I do listen to your show. I also appreciate everyone in the chat. Although I'm not a core viewer, it was simply a function of my work schedule. Love your show. Thank you, and keep on doing your thing. Means the world to me, man. And you're here a lot on the morning show. I see your name checking in on the morning. Thank you very much. $5 holler from Daniel Wade. Check this out. So cool how far along you've come, John. I can still recall when you'd lose your shit when a client would call you at your office during a recording. That means that this person was there from the beginning. Beginning meaning when I had my old office corporate job, wait for everybody to leave at the end of the night, pull out my recording stuff, and start banging on the desk. When I was yelling about Kelly losing 80 games in a row, losing to Duke, I'm banging on the desk, and all people could hear is that banging. And then my stupid, those big office phones that have 80 buttons, and you could forward crap ringing off the hook. And now we did come a long ways. I don't have to do that in my little office. Now we got our own setup here. Mark, I have no idea who that is. I don't remember that at all. Oh boy. All right, here's what we're doing. We're going to run this great commercial from our new sponsor. I'm going to go get something to drink. And when we come back, we're going to Nikki Dean, who loves to be heard and seen. Let's do it. In today's fast-paced digital age, seamless and secure transactions for your business aren't a luxury. They're an absolute necessity. That's where your friends at Paisley step in. Paisley's in the business of making your business run smoother, not just as a payment processor, but as a true partner in your success and growth. Paisley's platform is intuitive, the fees are transparent, security ironclad, processing instant, and the support team is unmatched. If you're looking to take your business to the next level anywhere in the United States, call one of the all-stars of Always Irish Radio, Chicago's very own Tom Frawley at 773-332-7742 or email him tom@paisleypartners.com for a personalized payment processing consultation addressing your unique business needs. And be sure to tell them Always Irish sent you. Oh boy. What, dude, you guys are hilarious with these chats. I don't know if it's because everybody's drinking and smoking or what, but you guys are pretty funny. Gosh, there's some really good stuff. Is Luke still alive? I blocked him last year. Luke is alive. You just have to figure out which of the 7 screen names it is. Luke's definitely alive. That name's been changing. Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. 812, what's going on, my friend? I hope to see you in a few weeks in South Bend.
Hey, we're planning on being there. I got a couple 3 beefs I want to go over.
Okay.
Number one, Audric Estime's 40 time doesn't matter. He's a power back. Number 2, anybody who thinks we are going less than 11-1 this year hasn't looked at our schedule. Number 3, I'm really jealous that you got a commercial for your show, but I'm so happy you did. Expand.
Thank you, Nick. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry I had to drop the commercial right before you came on, but I had to try and space it and put it where I put it, man. I appreciate it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Nick, I think people just wanted Estimate to be a little faster. I totally get what you're saying, but I do think people weren't expecting it to be that slow. The way that he plays, that's not really his key feature anyways, and it never has been, right?
Yeah, and does anybody know what 40-time Jerome Bettis ran?
Yeah, and there was nobody at the end of that career going, you know what? He didn't have the breakaway speed because he was running over people. Can you, Nick, tell me about your confidence level in that 11-1? I feel like it's easy to sit there and look at his schedule and break it down and go, oh, it's manageable and this team isn't going to be that good and we should roll over these guys. And then you get into the year and some teams are better than you thought they'd be, some are worse, or the moment is a particularly weird buildup. Talk to me about your confidence in that high of a record and what's driving it. Is it you feel better about our staff and our players combined with the schedule? What's giving you the confidence?
Well, first and foremost, I know Texas A&M is going to be a test. I don't think it's going to be as tough a test as everybody thinks it's going to be.
Yeah.
Mike Elko's a great coach, but they lost a lot of talent and they're rebuilding pretty much. I know they've got a bunch of oil money, but they're not going to be that as good as everybody thinks they're going to be.
Nick, follow
right now,
me.
I think they're ranked 24th.
Yep, that's what I saw too. Follow me here. Tell me if this makes sense. You might have heard me say this before. I am not afraid of Texas A&M's roster, but it's the moment, right? Like it's the bigness of that moment that is more my concern than me being like, oh my God, they're so good. How are we going to guard these guys? Like, how are we going to stop them? It isn't about that I'm afraid of Texas A&M's players. It's just that moment's so big and what the result will lead to being the emotional governor arrow of the whole rest of the season, high or low. It's that moment that's a big deal to me. And I need Notre Dame to be ready in that moment to open up the year with everybody watching you on the road in the SEC, probably at night. You're going to have all that stuff. And I need Notre Dame to be ready for this moment. It's more about the moment and that buildup than it is them specifically. In regards to Elko, He is a really, really good
I agree
coach.
with that.
We all respect Elko. My point is, as good of a coach as he is, there's no way they're going to have everything ironed out week 1, year 1 of a new coach. That's just not a reality. So if you're going to get him year 1, game 1, baby. Get him then.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with all that. And I feel like we're going to come out. We're probably going to be down by 3, maybe a touchdown at halftime. But I think the second half, we're just going to blow them out. I think Denbrock's going to make some adjustments, and we're just going to blow them out. We'll probably win by 14.
Nick, oh man, I couldn't imagine. You know how happy I'd be on this post-game show if we beat them by 2 scores. Did you see this? They interviewed Freeman. I forget if it was on the podium or if this was one of those like one-on-one interviews he does with some podcast, something. And they were asking him, how do you think this offense might look different under Denbrock? And he said, we're not going to be afraid to throw the ball around. He goes, he's going to want to take shots over you, spread you out, throw you around. And then Freeman said, but the run game's going to be the foundation that opens all that up and allows that stuff to kind of happen. But I am excited hearing that they even have a plan or an idea to maybe try and throw the ball around like a real team. I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's what we've been begging for 15 years.
Yeah.
Throw it around a little bit, open up the inside so that our running backs have not less than 8 guys in the box.
Yep.
One thing
leads to another. The better your running game is, the more you can throw it. And the more you throw it, the better your running game is. Both of these things work hand in hand. It's not one over the other. It's one opening up the other. And I think that they're in a position to maybe be able to do that this year. Look at how much Notre Dame's accomplished. And they've been crippled offensively, man. They've won a lot of games a lot of these years with a half-ass offense. If they could really put something together here, it would really be a nice little piece of modernity.
Yes, it would. Having a balanced team would be a blessing at Notre Dame. And I'm going to make one other point. I think Goolsby is wrong about KVA this year. I'm not saying he's wrong about him being a great player. I just don't know if he's going to see the field a lot this year.
Yeah, I
think he's going to be like a package guy,
And that's one of my big questions. Him and some other of the young guys is they get hyped up. You hear they could maybe contribute early, and then I want to know what that reality is like. And the same thing goes for like Cam Williams. What does that playing time look like? Do you pick your spots to just put him in a position where you don't have to worry about all the responsibilities and all the blocking schemes and everything, but get him the ball and then go? And then with KVA, I don't know. What are those instincts? If the instincts are that good and he's physically built the way he is, how do you integrate him in there? I don't know, but I want to see it.
With Cam Williams, I would teach him 3 routes, and he would be the first read for the quarterback, whoever that is, on all 3 of those routes. And that's all you need him to do. You have him run a drag route, you have him run a slant, and you have him run a fly. And that's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only 3 routes he runs.
Yeah. And I always hear, well, we don't play a freshman receiver because they don't understand all of the blocking schemes and all the things you got to do. Bro, I don't need him to be a finished, polished product. I need you to scheme up a play to get him the ball and then one block, and then we see what happens. That's not that hard to do. And you're not in the position to be picky about who gets snaps or not when you've had no wide receiver room for multiple years. Like, you're not in a position to be picky and require a guy is perfect to play with what we've had out there. Let a guy get a ball in space, and you might be surprised what happens.
Yeah. And the whole quarterback situation, after the first practice, Freeman was like, "Oh, it's an open competition." I put in the chat on the live stream of the press conference. I said, "Come on, Marcus. We all know Riley's the starter. Stop playing this game."
I just don't think he could say it, Nick, because what is the message that sends? Even if it's the truth, if you say that, then it sends the message of, number one, there isn't a competition here, so why do I bother if I'm the backup? And then number two, you might send a guy into the portal before you even get into spring ball if you say that. Like, there are reasons that they try and hold back. It's just, that's coach speak, and it's like a part of the job.
I understand that. I totally get it. I just, don't like that they have to do that.
Yeah, it's just a part of it.
How many half-truths?
Yeah.
How many half-truths do these coaches have to say? And it's everybody. It's all the coaches.
Nick,
it's not just Marcus Freeman.
Nick, oh, that's for sure. Here's the other thing people don't like, and I don't either. The discussion of NIL money being a part of the decision of who plays or starts. And that's not just a Notre Dame thing. That's all over. That feels icky. That doesn't feel like the college football we grew up in where there's fair competition and the winner gets to play. That sounds weird too, but it's all realities of the modern game. And that's just the way these things go.
Yep. So how much validity do you put in the whole Nick Saban quit because of the NIL and the way his players acted after losing to Michigan? Are you going to guarantee me playing time and all that kind of stuff that I heard?
I remember 2 summers ago, I was mowing the lawn, listening to an SEC podcast, and it was during media days. And Saban and Jimbo were going back and forth about NIL. It was right when the courts made it legal, and A&M spent all that oil money on that D line. And they were going back and forth, and Saban was getting all worked up and kind of saying things in his presser. And then Jimbo went back at him. Right then, I was like, dude, I think he realizes he doesn't have the unilateral king power he used to have. He does not like it. Right then, I thought this guy's going to retire before he probably thought he would, because he built his whole career having all the power, and now the players are gaining power and he doesn't like it. Also, now, Nick, everybody could do NIL and pay players, not just SEC teams. They used to have that old market cornered, paying guys. Once everybody could pay them, it leveled the playing field. Saban didn't like it.
Yeah. Well, there were some other, Pac-12 teams. I won't USC say the name.
Oh yeah, Hollywood, baby.
And
Hollywood
Ohio
money.
State, I'm sure.
Hollywood money, baby.
I mean, there were some other teams doing it too, but the SEC had that market cornered for years. We're talking decades.
Yeah.
And now they don't, and they're upset.
Yeah, and so you know what else? I'm going to make a prediction here. I think you're going to see college football coaching overall. I think it's going to turn into more of a young man's game. I think a lot of these older coaches are going to be like Chip Kelly and be like, I don't need this. I'm at a place where we're not going to win anything, and I don't need all these problems. I think you're going to see more head guys bow out earlier than they did in previous decades, because it's just too much of a rat race. You don't have the control you used to have. The obligations of you are more than ever before. The time, all of it. Not all these guys are built to be able to deal with the way it's going. I think it's going to turn into a younger man's game.
So what player I'll go low, $250,000 a year is going to take Lou Holtz, 5'7", 140-pound Lou Holtz, grabbing him by the face mask and pulling him down to his level?
Yeah.
What player is going to do that?
Yeah. It's a changing
the coaches
world.
Have no power.
It's a changing world. You know what else I think about with this, Nick? Think about just regular old playing time. You recruit like a 4, high 4, 5-star guy, and he's a freshman, and you win his recruitment, and he commits to you and all that. But then it's like, well, if you don't play him right away, and he was a highly thought of recruit, he's going to leave. So you feel obligated to kind of play him. Like, it's messed up, man. Like, but it's the way it is. So now the coaches went from having all the power to feeling like hostages, where if they don't play the young guys, even if they don't think they're ready, if they don't play them, they're going to lose them. Everything's changed so much, Nick. And I just don't know whether it's for the better or worse. I have no idea.
Well, it's for the now.
That's a good point.
That's the way these new players want it.
Nick, that's a good way.
Players, right?
That's a really good way to put it. And the other reason what you just said is this is the now, why that's important is as an institution, each football program, you got to kind of make a decision to commit and try and keep up with all this and really be in that mix or not. And I think Notre Dame's going through that, and they're trying to hang and they're trying to adjust. Notre Dame traditionally, historically moves slow to trends in college football. I've seen them speed up the timeline with some things to try and stay modern. Like they're giving it a go here. And I appreciate the commitment. I just hope it pays off.
Me too. And one last thing. I want Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. I want them to. No, not for the money. Because you get to Michigan, you get to Michigan State, you get to Penn State, you get to Ohio State, you get to USC game every year, hopefully.
It would be
every year. That's 5 right there.
Man, dude, almost every game.
Schedule.
Yeah, it would be. Almost every game would intrigue me except for Maryland and Rutgers. Every other game I have a reason to be interested in. Literally every other team I find a reason to be interested. It's just those are the only 2 that I don't care for, but it would be almost a week-to-week great game situation.
Well, Maryland and Rutgers will probably be out of the Big Ten if the ACC falls apart. I mean, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. If the ACC falls apart, they're going to get Clemson probably because Clemson doesn't want to join the SEC, and they might get Georgia Tech. And we've had some good games against Georgia Tech too. So
yeah, there's just so much is changing so fast, Nick. This used to be a sport based on tradition and history and in the old ways of doing things. And the speed, like change is inevitable, but it's the speed of the changes and how big they are. That surprises me a little bit. But then again, I don't think it should because money's money. And that's what's driving all this. And whatever they're doing is going to bring them all more money. So I think that it's that simple. They're barreling forward because it's all more money for the powers that be.
Yep. It's all about the dollar bills.
That's what it is, man. It's all about the dollar bills. How's the wife? Is she doing well?
She's doing well. She's a little mad at me tonight because she heard you call me Nikki Dean, and she called me Nikki Dean earlier today, and I popped her on the butt for it.
It's because of the rhyme. It's Nikki Dean loves to be heard and seen. And, so, it's what pops into my mind.
That's okay. It's okay. You have a good night, Johnny. And, like I say, go Irish.
Oh man, go Irish. And I will hopefully see you guys in about a month or whatever it is at the Blue and Gold game. God bless you guys. Tell the wife I said hi. She's a lovely person.
All righty.
Take care. Telling you what, man.
Bye-bye.
We got some nice callers. They got some nice wives too. And I don't know what it is tonight. It's the family thing. Everybody calling up or what? Oh man. Under Armour deal is $7 annually. Mark, that's funny. Oh, man. All right, let's breeze. I got 3 more callers up. Got to be done at 10 to go do something else online. I got to do it 10. Let's see if we could breeze through it. 419, you're on the line. What's going on?
John, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. It's nice to be with the people on the Leprechaun Eve here. That's what's going on. It's been a lively night.
Yeah, it has been. I was scrolling through Twitter a few minutes ago. Looks like all signs are pointing to Jerome Jr. committing tomorrow.
Yep, looks like you're going to get him, and there's a lot of good Notre Dame genes from that pool. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. I have not really been able to see any of his tape, but I hear he's like one of the more underrated 3-stars in the class for a receiver.
Yeah, and again, somebody referenced it earlier in the show. If you were going to go with a lower rated dude, you take the dude with those NFL genes and the Notre Dame connection. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. But John, I wanted to ask, because you've been talking about this Texas A&M game for months now. How different would you feel about it if the game was being played in South Bend this year?
I think it would be a huge moment, but there would be more of an expectation for Notre Dame to win. Whatever you think the amount of expectation there is for Notre Dame to win it on the road, I think you would have to increase it significantly if it was at home. I really do. And so then you would be getting year one, game one of Elko in a whole new everything at home. And so I think it would be looked at very, very differently. That moment is interesting. 100,000, drunk Texas people in the heat and the sun going down and, whatever. And the male cheerleaders in their white overalls and all that weird stuff. Like, do they drink the oil out of the ground? Like, I don't understand what's going on there. It's a weird group of people I don't care for. So yeah, if it was at home, it'd be really, really different. And that's what you're going to get the following year, by the way. So then it would be year two of Elko. So he'll have a year under his belt and to get that defense and everything going. But then they come to us. So that's going to be wild too. But the moment matters to me. And it's a big moment with all those elements. The night game, game one, SEC, all that stuff. You wouldn't have that if it was at home. So it's a big moment. And I need Notre Dame to be ready from the first snap. Be ready.
Yeah, the way it all played out, I like how we go down there for year one of Elko. Then year two, when he's actually maybe starting to build something, they got to come to us. I like how that ended up playing out.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be, man, that's going to be a tough ticket to get for that week one game too. It's going to be really interesting. I'll say it again though. I am not deathly afraid of A&M's roster. It's not the talent that has me concerned. It's the totality of the moment. And we've seen Notre Dame not rise to the occasion in big moments so much in my lifetime. It's an anxiety to me until I see him do it more regularly.
Yeah. Obviously there's a bunch of examples. There's quite a few examples over the last few years, but the one I just can't get out of my head is Louisville last year. Just put into their their national championship.
Yep.
It's night. All their fans are drunk at that point, and they're just ready to watch some football. And Notre Dame doesn't come ready to play.
I'm telling you, man. Louisville Twitter. I don't know if you're on Twitter or not. Louisville's Twitter group were on fire early that week. They were on fire, and you can kind of like gauge the heat for a game. You could gauge it by the online, what's cooking. And I am telling you, they were on fire and you knew it right away. And you were like, this is their Super Bowl. And I'm not sure I'm feeling that approach from our end. You're walking into a hornet's nest. You got to be ready. We were not ready. We were just not ready. It was the Super Bowl, but only one team got the invite, and it wasn't us.
Yeah,
they weren't ready.
That is the first game that pops in my head when I think of just us not being ready for a big road game. Or what was it, 2018 or 2019 Miami?
17 Miami. 17 was Miami. And then 19 was Big House. So you had those are a couple of nightmares in a row. Those are some dark nights for me. Miami 17, awful night. Michigan 19, awful night. Not quite the pain from Ohio State last year, but really, really bad. Can I ask you this? What do you attribute Notre Dame's bad starts on the road last year to? What do you think is the reason for this? Is it just coincidence, or did you not have the right leadership, or the guys are just tired? It was a trend all year, even in road games we won, that we started out bad. And I'm wondering if you have a theory.
I honestly don't really have one for that. I mean, really, one thing you can look at is like some of those other teams that we go to, they might be hyped up. They're like, hey, we got Notre Dame coming to our house. This is our chance to get a big win.
Oh yeah, you're always
Maybe
going to
they
have
play
that.
strong, then the talent
Hey,
fits over in the
but
second half.
isn't it funny though, man? Those same people say we're irrelevant. We're irrelevant, but when we come to town, they fill the place up, and it's their biggest attendance of the year, and they're going crazy. That's a lot of effort for a team that's irrelevant when they come to town, don't you think?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we're just completely irrelevant at this point, I guess.
Jeez, it's unbelievable. I
Which
always
is why
bring.
which is why we have an open invite to any conference we want.
Yeah,
basically, if you
exactly.
decide to join one.
And I always bring that up with Georgia. When we went to they came to us and then we went to them. They're the Georgia's highest attendance ever. They literally had semis bring in additional seating just for Notre Dame to come to town. The big bad SEC, it just means more. And their seating record is when Notre Dame comes to town. It's really great being this irrelevant, I got to tell you.
Do you think, I think it's 29 we go down to Tuscaloosa. Do you think that'll break their attendance record possibly?
29. Dude, that's so long from now. I don't even know. That's so well, and you got to see what happens. You got to see what happens. Yeah. Let's see how DeBoer does and what that's all like. That's so far down the road. I'm not even going to stress myself out over it yet. So we'll see when we get there. Let me make sure I don't have 80 strokes before, and I don't even have to worry about it. I don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see. But yeah, there's some bit for all the people who say Notre Dame never schedules anybody. We keep coming up with big teams on the schedule, don't we? You had a Georgia series. You had Texas. You had Michigan. You have Ohio State. You have Alabama coming up. Texas A&M now. Notre Dame never schedules anybody, though. Don't worry about it.
Real quick, I wanted to bring this up. Everyone's been talking about tonight, saying they want Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. I have yet to have one person agree with me on this. Since I said we have an open invite to any conference, I don't want Notre Dame to go SEC.
Never going to happen.
I really do. If they join a conference, I want SEC.
Never going to happen.
No, I don't think it will either.
But it's not. But wait, it's not about, oh my gosh, there's football, whatever. It's more about like the academics and how that all lines up with all the other schools, and all of that lines up with Notre Dame better with the ACC and the Big Ten than it ever does the SEC. So for that reason alone, it's just not a fit. Before you even get to any football argument, that's a main reason it isn't a good fit.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's a good fit, but I would love it just because, well, really, if you have the SEC logo on your field, you already get looks from all the high-end 4-stars and 5-star recruits. Then you throw in, we're Notre Dame, we're a high profile, and if we keep building up like Freeman's been doing and getting these recruiting classes, I feel like we would really start to thrive down there.
Yeah, it's just, I just don't think those academics and all that stuff lines up the way they want. And I just think it's the Big Ten. That's the easiest thing. It's the most natural thing. You have all those built-in good game rivalries. It would be USC. That's another big one, man. The priority is always to keep USC. And if you're in the Big Ten, you don't have that worry. And so I don't know, but it's going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, it will. And if we do join a conference, I guarantee it is Big Ten, but that's just my opinion on what I would want.
Yep. And we still have some time. And so you could run as an independent, see how the playoff goes for you in the new format. And then if you need to adjust, you could adjust. And it would be a good place to land if you needed to. I'd prefer to do it our way and win that way. But if we had to, it'd be a good number 2, I guess, as disgusting as that feels to say.
Yeah. Has there been any other news other than Jerome Jr. today? I've been at work all day or all night.
Jerome Jr. And then the big football news was Justin Fields moving from the Bears to the Steelers for a 6th-round pick. That was the big news I saw right before we came on.
I'm a Steelers fan, so I want to thank you, John. I want to thank you guys.
Hey, you know what? If you could get him for a 6th-round pick, that is totally worth the flyer for the athlete he is.
Yeah.
That's like nothing to me for a quarterback. And it might be a good fit there. And the one thing I got to tell this about the Steelers is that's a well-run organization. Okay. They know what they're doing. They just know how to run a football operation. in a lot different way than the Bears. So I'm hopeful maybe Justin Fields has a clean slate and it goes well for him.
They've already named Russell Wilson the starter for next year, so maybe a year learning under a veteran will really help him as well.
Yeah, no, I'm just not. Or is anybody that sold on Russell Wilson at this point anyways? Like, I don't know much more meat's on that bone either.
I think a lot of it is just, well, because that pick is conditional. Field starts most of the year, then it's a 4th-round pick, so they've named Russell the starter, so that way he guarantees 6.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. And then if we get Caleb Williams in Chicago, it's going to be so interesting. I just thank God I'm not emotional with the Bears. That is going to be a wild ride. So if I was emotional with the Bears, I'd be dead already. There wouldn't be no Always Irish, because the Saturday and Sunday nightmares I would have had back-to-back so many years, I'd be dead. There's no way I could live it. Having Notre Dame fail me on a Saturday and then I wake up and then the Bears fail me on a Sunday. Who can live that way? Like, honestly, who could not die? Who could not die under those circumstances? It's a diehard Notre Dame fan and a diehard Bears fan. With the Saturday and Sunday back-to-back kicks to the sack you receive most your life. Who can exist?
I cannot be the only one that thinks that the Caleb Williams pick is going to be compared to someone like Jamarcus Russell a couple years from now.
Oh man, that's a bad one, dude. That dude, you know what pisses me off is it pisses me off that everybody goes to him as an example of an NFL bust. But when he played Notre Dame in the bowl game, they scored 900.
I was too young to even know that game happened.
Good for you. I'm glad you are. But when we played LSU in that bowl game, that guy lit us up, and then he ate 6,000 pancakes, gained 800 pounds, and flamed out. Unbelievable.
Honestly, didn't even know that Notre Dame played him.
Unbelievable. Whatever. I'm still mad about it. It's unbelievable. Hey, thanks, my friend. I'm going to get a couple more people in here on the way out. Thanks for giving me a call, as always.
All right. See you, John.
Take care, brother. Happy St. Patrick's Day. 574. Give me some more. What's going on?
Yeah, what's up, John? Remember me yesterday?
I certainly do, my friend. What's new between yesterday and today? You out and about having a couple St. Patrick's Day drinks? What's the move?
I went to a mall train show, and then I went to go see my girlfriend.
Well, that's exciting.
Now, yeah. Well, hey, it's always a good Saturday when you see your girlfriend, right?
Hey, well, as long as you like her, then yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I love her.
Then I guess you're good to go, man. What's on your mind between yesterday and today? Anything new? Let me know. Throw it at me.
Well, I got an interesting question for you that goes way back.
Oh boy.
There was a game that famous at Notre Dame Stadium, broke our hearts. You were at that game.
Think I know what you're referencing.
The 4th down and 9 play. Am I the only one around here who thinks maybe Notre Dame should have let that mother effer score? USC had no defense that year.
Man. I'm having
been over a minute and 20 seconds left. All 3 timeouts.
Why?
USC.
Why? Back in that era, our secondary always let us down, man. Do you remember all those games where no matter what we did or how many points we scored, we just couldn't cover? Nobody could play the ball. Like, do you know how many times I blew out my voice yelling, "Turn around"? Like, our guys wouldn't even turn around to see the ball. And do you know how many hundreds of times I've replayed that 4th and 9 and seen our dude's fingertips just a shade of an inch away from tipping that ball around that changes everything? And then you didn't. Here's the worst part about it all. Other than my tears that night leaving, the worst part about it all is, off that loss, Notre Dame, they gave Weiss a 10-year extension off a loss to our biggest rival.
That was a bad idea. We
10
jumped the
years.
gun way too quick on that one.
10
But
years.
don't you think maybe we should have just let that dude score? Because we would have been the team, honestly, that scored 3 seconds left if we let Dwayne.
You know what,
score.
though? I don't even think that's on the radar because of where that all took place on the field. I don't even think that was on the radar to even like have it in your mind. If they get behind you, let them go, because of it. Like that one result of that one play was like the last thing anybody expected for 4th and 9 and where they were at on the field, man. This wasn't like on the goal line where you're like under a minute and they want to run the clock and you see the D line spread out, let the guy go in. This was on the plus side of the other 50 having to go. I don't even think that was on the radar to have that thought.
They should have let him score, though. I mean, come on now. I mean, USC's defense was terrible that year.
God, I thought we had it, man. I thought we had it. Everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. The weather was perfect. We got a punt return from Zibby. We had the green jerseys. John made $1,500 in 2 minutes selling 2 tickets. Like it was one of the greatest days of my life. Right up until it wasn't. It was one of the best weekends I've ever had. Me and my dad, my friends, we were there. Everything was perfect. Right until it wasn't. I'll never get over it. I'll never get over that one.
Now, I have another question for you, since you were at the Clemson game and I was too at the Clemson game. You know, the one where we smacked them around.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Did you rush the field like I did?
I did not. And the reason I did not is I was with my brother and his pregnant wife. And I wanted to make sure they could get out of there, and we didn't need her climbing thing. We're all together, and so I just didn't want to mess with that with her in fragile condition. So because of that, we didn't rush the field.
Yeah, I know one thing. I had an usher. Usher was cool enough to help me down.
Hey, man, you got to do it when you could do it at Notre Dame. But what a great moment, man. That Morrison pick 6, it was a moment. Like that, like, dude, that was a moment.
Oh, I lost my voice.
Oh, it was just, and it felt like, because he had to run the whole length of the field, like you were celebrating, it felt like for a whole minute, because that play took forever because he had to run all the way down. It was one of those nights, man. And I was really happy for Marcus because it had been a stressful year, and that gave everybody some positivity on the high end. And even though that Clemson team wasn't great, they were flawed. They were still undefeated and ranked in the top 4, and you had to respect that.
They still were a good team, but they just weren't.
Yeah.
It's not the Trevor Lawrence time.
Exactly. But a really, really good night and a good early moment for Marcus Freeman. And I was happy. And you know what else meant a lot to me? And I know a lot of people don't care about this. It meant a lot to me to see Freeman celebrating with all of us. That meant a lot to me, to have that guy Oh, are you kidding me? He would have had the golf clubs. He would have been teeing off already by the time the game ended. The fact that that guy wanted to be with us and all that, it meant a lot to me. I know some people think that that's amateur hour or whatever. I personally loved it. I loved it.
Wish all coaches were like that, honestly. I mean, the fans are out there supporting you.
It meant, it meant the world to me. And it came off genuine too. He didn't want to just do that for him. He really wanted to do it so all of us could have that joy. It was really an enjoyable night.
The craziest thing is, here's one thing I do regret. Not noticing that one dude who was dressed like a musician was Jalen Smith. I didn't recognize him.
Oh.
He dresses like a musician now.
Wait.
I swear to you, he looks like him.
I don't think I've seen him in a while. I'll have to look it up now.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing that's interesting, when Jalen Smith was playing at Notre Dame, I was at the UMass game in 2015. Guess whose parents I was not too far away from, because I noticed it at the concession stand.
Who's that?
Jalen Smith's parents.
How would I even know if it was his parents, though? Like, I don't know them enough to know that. Dr. John, what's going on? Dr. John, people have been asking where you were, Dr. John. They were all worried about you. I'm glad to see you here, good doc. Thanks for being here. Willie B. Artigan, the personal problem, can't help you with that. $5 olive. Just a reminder that Parker's no longer the OC. Happy St. Patty's Day. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
So
Yep, I'm still here, man. What else you got?
Yeah, I actually found out because, back then you couldn't really put players' names on the back of your jerseys.
Yeah.
You could only put your name on the back of your. And it said 9, it said Smith. I actually did the Genesis spike for them.
Yeah, the little the little bowling thing. I like the little bowling thing.
Yeah.
Remember that? It was you had everybody.
that.
You know how many drunk Irish dudes drank a bunch of beers and then in their living room were doing that little move, tearing their ACLs and stuff? I guarantee that was happening all over, man. Hey, thanks for giving me a call. Happy St. Patrick's Day, man. Anything on the way out?
What?
Anything on the way out? Thanks for the call.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we have good weather for the spring game.
Oh man, it would be enjoyable. And if it is bad, then I'm going to drink enough Miller Lights I won't care. That's what I did last year. So I'm good either way, man. Hey, give me a call next week and enjoy St. Patrick's Day. See ya.
You too, man.
Later. Oh boy. Philip pops in. Michigan sucks. Yeah, there you go. All right, you guys, I got to get going. I had something I was supposed to do at 10. Now I'm a little behind. There are still a few callers, but I will say this. The callers that are left are regular, like long time repeat callers. And I feel bad when I can't get to everybody, but I want you to know, especially on these weekend night shows, when there's a bunch of random people calling that are not in the morning show because of work, or that I see have never called before, those are the people I try and bring up because I want to get more people included, let them know that if they call, they could get on the air. And whenever I see that it's somebody who's never called, I want to make a priority to bump them up and get them in the mix. I hope you guys can understand that. But I'm not trying to disregard the regular callers either. 618 calls all the time in the morning, and I love them for it. I got to try and mix other people in. Andrew Gilmore just tried to call, and he got in here late and tried to call. Andrew, I'm sorry. Missed the window a little bit tonight, but there'll be other opportunities. All right, you guys. This was fun. It's good energy. St. Patrick's Day donations. You guys were great, really generous. Thank you very much. All the callers were good. We had a good time. We bounced around. Everything was good here. So enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Be with your families. Drink a Guinness. Have some corned beef. And then I'll post something in the morning, and then we'll go live on Monday. But thank you guys. I really appreciate you. Also, special shout out. Any fans of other teams that come in here just because it's entertaining or they like the format or they think it's entertaining when I get mad, whatever it is, I really appreciate the people from other teams. That's a good, healthy have in here. And it means a lot to me. And again, donations, thank you, man. Pays for the beer for the tailgate, pays for me to keep the phone lines going and the streaming. All of that stuff adds up. So thank you to everybody. This was a really, really good show. We missed Pat. It's just not the same without Pat in here. Hopefully he's having fun with his wife. But this was great. So thank you guys. Really appreciate you. And happy St. Patrick's Day. Take care, everybody. Be good.